Welcome everybody to another exciting build here at MetalmanX. If it's your first time to the channel, thank you for joining us. And for those that are coming back, welcome back. So today we're going to be working on the Master Grade 1100 Hyaku Shiki. We're going to start off with the legs. So with this build, I decided to try a couple things that I'm not used to. So I'm going to be adding a bit of metal mesh into the thrusters on the legs. This area of the build actually gave me the biggest challenge. Not only the metal mesh, but the LEDs in the legs. Overall, I ended up messing up a whole lot. The LEDs were press fit into the thrusters on the legs, which caused them to actually get crushed every once in a while. So all in all, I ran through a few LEDs before I got it right. So here comes the most difficult part of this build for me, is running the wires through the legs. I'm wrapping it around the end of my file so I can get rid of some of the excess and kind of hide it, but also keep a little bit of extra so that it's not too tight. That way I don't rip or break the wire whenever I'm moving the leg for posing. Now, the area in here is really tight, and I actually ended up snapping the wires multiple times and having to go in and fix it. But with time and patience, I was able to get through. Now, I'm gonna drill some holes to make sure that I have enough room for the wires to come through, also so I'm not pinching the wires themselves. You'll notice here I'm checking the LEDs. You'll notice that constantly throughout the build because you want to make sure that you haven't broken a wire or broken an LED throughout the build and have to tear everything down. So checking your LEDs throughout the build really helps. It takes a little bit more time, but it's definitely worth it. With the legs done, it's time to move on to the head. I'm going to use a little bit of Tamiya flat black on the clear piece in order to kind of limit the light. So I'm going to be using 2 red LEDs in here. So we're going to test the eye LEDs really quick, and we're going to put a green LED into the top camera. And we're going to use the actual shape of the side plates to guide the wires down into the back of the head and out the bottom. Now it's time to move on to the backpack. So we have 4 thrusters here, and we're going to use blue Pico LEDs to get the desired effect. And with the thrusters done, it's going to be easy enough to wire it through the backpack. We're going to use the natural opening to go ahead and move it through and be able to connect it to the main body of the mobile suit. This being a metallic coated kit, most of the kit is undergated. However, there are certain parts where it's not. And so to remedy this, I'm going to be using a gold leafing pen. It's not the exact same color, but from a glance, from a look, it looks really good. And with the wings done, it's time to go ahead and move on to the main body and wire everything all up. Originally, I had planned to be able to move it through the main part of the body, but it turned out that just wasn't going to happen, so I'm going to create a new hole to go through that connection point to the backpack. And I'm using multiple size drill bits to increase the size, and that will allow me to push the resistors through without any problem. I'm going to wrap the wires on the end of my file. Usually I would trim them a bit short, but I decided I wanted to go ahead and I had room inside at the back of the suit to just keep them as long as they were. Now all I have to do is add a single bit of wire. That way I don't have as much coming out through the end. You may notice I'm using these wired connectors on the back of the legs. That was a different design idea that I had and wanted to try out, and honestly it really didn't do much in the end, and so I probably won't use that in the future. It's always a good idea to add some shrink tube to your builds to prevent wires from shorting out. I'm also going to use some Citadel paint to cover up the color of the wires to make it blend a lot better. With that done, let's move on to the arms. Y'all may have missed that, so let's rewind that. And it flew off into the black hole under my desk. So I scavenged the extra finger from an extra repair I had lying around, and we're good to go. Okay, so I'm going to use some dry rub decals on here. They're fairly simple to use. You just place them and rub them down and they are supposed to stick. With that done, we're going to move on to the base. I got some awesome 3D printed parts from neatstuff.net. They provide me with a Hyaku Shiki symbol, a base riser. It was really pretty cool. So check them out at neatstuff.net. I'll put a link in the description. So now I'm going to be attaching the power supply inside of the riser. This riser gives me plenty of room to work with, and it's actually a lot easier to do all this different wiring. I'm going to add a potentiometer to this build to control the spotlight brightness and the Hyaku Shiki sign. With the base done, we're wrapping up this build, and I want to say thank you for joining us here on MetalmanX Builds, and we're looking forward to seeing you next time. Now, enjoy the glamour shots.